It is 7 o'clock. We will call tonight's meeting to order and ask if you would please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the many opportunities you give us, for the blessings you send our way, and for the opportunity that we have to live and work here in Calhoun and Gordon County. We ask that you continue to bless us, bless those who work for the city of Calhoun, their families, be with those who have special needs, those who are sick or hurting in some way, those who have lost loved ones, and be especially with our troops and our public safety officers and personnel as they protect our property and our freedoms both here and around the world. Be with us now as we carry on the business of the city. Help us to make decisions that would be pleasing to you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And one of those Mr. Edwards was asking us to pray for is Mr. Peterson, who thinks he can still ride a bicycle on the mountain bike trail, I believe. And so he had a crash and I haven't heard the results of going to the doctor, but he didn't come to work today or here tonight, but we wish him a speedy recovery. So with that, everybody's been presented with a copy of tonight's proposed agenda. If there are no additions or corrections, to have a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I think we might need to make an addition for, I don't know if we need to vote on it, but Mr. Vicker told us about a meeting with MEAG that some of us can go to, but I believe it's the time we have our work session. So we might need to change the work session until Monday. It is correct, right? Next Thursday, the 20th, Larry?
19th and 20th, yeah. Yes. Okay.
And but that way we can move the work session to Monday if that's pleasing to everybody.
Okay, that certainly will, let's just do that now if we
Yeah.
could, before we move forward.
Yeah, just
So, do I have a motion to move the next scheduled work session, which is on the 20th, to Monday at noon?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And with that being done, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve is amended.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Also, you had in your packet, you had a copy of the regular council minutes of the March 27th meeting. With that, if there are no additions or corrections, to have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Very pleased tonight and honored to have with us the leadership class. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the 29th such class that's gone through leadership. We're certainly always happy to have you here. You picked a good night because it's good and lengthy. But anytime, I'll as I always do, I'd like to tell you that if you have any questions or comments to myself or any council member, please feel free to do so. You can always get in touch with me either at City Hall or on my cell phone, and they will give you the number. But we do appreciate your interest in Calhoun, and I know you'll be going to the county and a lot of activities, which is hopefully beneficial to our community. So, and with that, I'll ask Kathy and if she'd like to say a word or two, and if like for each member to stand up and introduce themselves and maybe where they work and so forth.
Thank you for obliging us the opportunity to be here tonight. We have asked our leadership class, as part of the requirement for the economic development session, to attend the city council and our county commission or development authority. So many of them have done so in other capacities, but we have several here and part here and go through it. Unless you'll introduce yourself and the company that you're representing.
I'm Nicole Lynn, Gordon County Chamber of Commerce.
Raymond Acres, Shaw Industries.
Crystal Bloom, North Jersey Electric.
And Martha Logan, and I work for Ford Medical Center.
Once again, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate what you're doing and taking the time. Sometimes it's not that easy, so, and I know it's a lengthy course, so, but I appreciate you going through the leadership training. We will hold our first work session on the fiscal year budget July 1 of 17 through June 30th, 18. This is the annual operating budget and capital plan. This will be held on April the 24th, and it will be immediately following the regular council meeting. Also with that, the first public hearing will be held on May the 8th. We're very pleased tonight to have with us Mr. Marvin Garner. Marvin would like to address the council, and Marvin, if you just want to come up to the podium, and you've been here before, so.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Chief Moss, distinguished visitors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marvin Garner. I'm a local veteran. I appreciate the time to be here today for a couple of minutes. Last week, during a meeting at the Sheriff's Department, Chief Parrish asked, why do we not have a monument at the courthouse listing all of our veterans who were killed in all the wars? I said, Chief, I don't know. He said, I think we should have one. And the sheriff says, I agree with that too, and I'm sure Chief Moss will. But what I'd like to propose is we get representatives from the city, the county, Historical Society, Elks Lodge, American Legion, possibly Mohawk and Shaw, to form a committee to come up with a design for the monument. And we think it should have a Purple Heart. That is an award awarded to all people who were killed and wounded while serving to keep our country free. It should have the logo of the Army, the Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force. Then the committee could design it, what shape, size, and possibly the Historical Society, maybe the courthouse, have a name of all of our veterans who were killed while serving to keep our country free from the Revolutionary War right up to the Iraq and what's going on now. This is what I propose. But it's up to the city if they want to nominate a couple of people and contact the county and these people to form a committee. I would like to see it. I know our organization, Military Order of the Purple Heart, we're poor folk, but we would donate some money to help fund a monument. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
One question. Go ahead, Jim.
Have you approached the county with this yet?
No, it was Thursday night or last meeting at the Sheriff's Department. I haven't been to the county yet, but I need to find when they have the county commissioners meeting and go talk to them. No, the Sheriff
And-
Austin is really in favor of it. Anywhere you go throughout the county, we have veterans, families of veterans.
One question. I know that a monument was erected at the National Guard Armory. Do you know if that meets those needs at all?
I haven't seen that monument. I know we have a monument over there. We have some monument at the Legion and a few small ones at the Veterans of Foreign Wars. What Chief Parrish says, we should have one at the courthouse. He said, every county I go to throughout the state, there's a nice, beautiful monument at the courthouse. Listed all veterans with Mr. TJ over here, being the graphics that helped design it. But that's up to the committee, if you choose to form a committee.
Council also going to advise having donated legal services to the establishment of the monument over there. That's for members of that unit.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions?
We certainly, I'll speak if the council doesn't mind, but be happy to work with the county. It certainly is county property, and so we'll need their cooperation and so forth to do that. And for the placement of that, they're fixing to do some renovations, but will be a good time to talk to them about the opportunities moving forward. So.
I'm sure we can get donations and there will not be any taxpayers' money spent on it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, and for those of you that don't know Mr. Gardner, he's been very active in a lot of these type things, and when you enter the city now, if you see a lot of Purple Hearts, we are a Purple Heart city. He was very active in that. He was active in working with Shoney's about the placement of a sign and a special parking out there for Purple Heart veterans and so forth. We appreciate what you do in our community and certainly honoring and recognizing our veterans. Now we'll have the council comments. We'll begin with Councilman Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Water, Wastewater, and Engineering Departments for the month of March, the 2-inch galvanized line replacement project is approximately 75% complete. Thor Drive, Hunt Subdivision, Spring Valley, Davis Road, Edwards Street, Fox Street, Short Street, and West Street are all complete. The area currently being worked on and near completion is Cherry Hill Drive, Sherwood Drive, Highland Court, and Valley Circle. And the next sections will be Lewis Drive, Cindy Lane, Kirk Drive off of Peters Street, and Beamer Circle, Overland Drive, and Emery Lane off of Beamer Road. The flocculation and sedimentation control project at the Malden Road Water Treatment Plant is complete. The new MPDES permit for the wastewater treatment plant went into effect March 1st of last year, and several items required under the new permit have been implemented. The required design development report has been submitted to and approved by the EPD, and the chemical feed system is under construction now. The nutrient trading monitoring pilot program is underway. The first phase was funded by a Section 319 grant and is complete. We're working on a second 319 grant application to continue the monitoring. EPD would like for the second phase of monitoring to include a larger scale in conjunction with the small plots. North Georgia Water Resources has agreed to help fund the in-kind match should the grant be awarded. Excuse me again. Sorry. Wastewater treatment plant motor control center upgrades, phase 1 is complete and phase 2 is moving forward. The Miller's Ferry Loop water main is completed and is in service. The South Calhoun bypass utility relocates. Section of water main along Union Grove Road is nearing completion. The second interconnect with Chatsworth on Maple Grove Church Road is complete. Chatsworth has a line extension under construction to meet the new meter on our side. Pisgah drainage area sewer replacement bid opening was January 4th of 2017. IPR Southeast was the low bidder at $1,029,191. The project is budgeted at $1,045,002. So the project has been delayed for 7 weeks by GFA regarding contractor approval. Water and sewer projects in development, the airport sanitary sewer relocation involving the relocation of 4,500 feet of sewer main to accommodate the planned airport expansion. State Route 156 water main relocation involves the GDOT Railroad Bridge replacement at Ranger, out where 156 runs back into 411. GDOT has contacted us regarding the attachment of the new water main to the proposed bridge. North Wall Street and Redbud Road intersection improvements. GDOT has asked for an estimate to relocate any utilities in conflict with the proposed project there. And Highway 41 South at Lynn Creek involves a GDOT widening project, and that is in development as well. Projects in engineering or conceptual design, sewer, Blackwood Creek trunk sewer replacement, Yarborough Street replacement sewer, and Louise Avenue, Cherry Street, and Florence Avenue sewer replacement. And on the water side, Bellwood Road water transmission main, Curtis Parkway water main, Reeves Station water main, and the second interconnect with Pickens County. The water treatment plant for the month of March withdrew a total of 283,646,742 gallons, which is a daily average of 9,149,895. And the monthly average for the 3 months to date is 9,276,887. So March was actually a little below average, or really considerably, I guess, below average of the 2 previous months. We had 5.29 inches of rainfall, and that gives us 13.41 inches year to date, and that's an average of 4.47 inches per month compared to 2.56 inches last year for the monthly average. And last year, we only had 30.69 inches of rain for the year, so we're almost half of that through the first quarter of this year. So hopefully, we won't have the drought conditions again this year that we had last year. Wastewater treatment for the month of March, the average daily flow was 4.611. The average BOD affluent was 5. Average suspended affluent 11, and the average COD affluent 46. That is, all those numbers are slightly higher than for the month of January, and all but the COD affluent are higher also than February. Water distribution, there were 312 total work orders completed, 13 water connections installed, 16 water service leaks repaired, 12 water main leaks repaired, 33 calls to investigate potential leaks, 2,900 feet of new 2-inch black poly pipe installed, 28 water services changed to the new water main, 2 fire hydrants repaired, 12 meter shut-off valves repaired, 6 turn water on or turn water off at the meter, 27 water meters changed for yearly testing, 122 new meters installed or changed out, 9 yards and roadway edges repaired because of leak repairs, 3 calls to flush water lines, 3 calls to install or remove fire hydrant meters, 5 calls to check water pressure, 509 utility locates, 46 utility locates called in for work orders, 17 emergency utility locates called in for repairs, and 72 miscellaneous calls, if you can believe after all that list there's anything that still falls under miscellaneous. But anyway, on March 9th, replaced 2,850 feet of 2-inch galvanized line with the aforementioned 2-inch black poly along Valley View Circle off of Owens Chapel Road. On March 23rd, completed changing water services from old 2-inch galvanized line to the new 6-inch line along Rips Road, which is off Peters Street. On March 28th, installed 60 feet of 6-inch ductile iron pipe to lower the water main for Gordon County to repair a road culvert under Moore's Ferry Road. And March 31st, installed 7 mainline tie-ins on 12 and 8-inch line for the new bypass project to accommodate relocation of water mains there. The wastewater collection monthly report, there were 7 sanitary sewer connections, 5 sanitary sewer service repairs, 2,650 sanitary sewer services TV inspected, 279 utility locates completed, 3 lift station repairs, 11 sewer calls, 10 of these were for service lines, and 9 were on the customer side. 6,500 feet of sanitary sewer lines cleaned, and 74 manholes opened and inspected. The police department for the month of March, the anticipated fines for the month were $82,305. Fines collected from previous cases, $61,110. There were 542 total cases that included 126 state warrants, 4 search warrants, 144 speeding violations, 3 DUIs, 13 juvenile complaints, and 252 others that most involve traffic violations, no license or, expired license or tags not properly paid and whatever, but provided 15 medical assists, issued 449 warnings, worked 59 highway accidents, 51 private property accidents. There were no serious injuries or fatalities involved in any of those, thank goodness. Provided 77 escorts, had 1,747 total incident reports. There were 317 alarms answered, 51,541 miles patrolled, and 4,576 calls for service by 911. The monthly court statistics, there were 408 total cases from the police department involving anticipated fines of $82,305. There were 70 cases dropped, 337. That left 337 total court cases. The dollar amount involved with those is $46,950. There were 179 bond forfeitures, and the bond dollars forfeited as a result of that were $21,755. 28 probation cases, $10,132.50 in probation payments. There were 131 bench warrants issued, 63 SSI warrants, 38 FTAs, provided 13 prisoner transports, rescheduled 102 cases, and served 12 subpoenas. The inmate trash pickup program for March, and anyway, I've got it. So I'm, the following streets were maintained by inmate trash detail for the month of March: Curtis Parkway, East Line Street, Peters Street, Kenmoreland Drive, Richardson Road, South Line Street, West May Street, Malden Road, Pine Street, River Street, Barrett Road, Hawthorne Drive, Mims Road, High Point Drive, Springdale Drive, Pisgah Way. Here's one that's has always been subject to debate as far as with the local folks. I know enough Spanish to know it should be Buena Vista, but I think everybody around here calls it Buena Vista, but whatever that street is, and it's in my neighborhood, and I'm not sure. Boulevard Heights, Forest Avenue, and Harlan Street. A total of 78 bags of trash were collected from those streets. The fire department for the month of March had 190 total reported calls for service on the suppression, within the suppression division side of things. Those responses to calls included 9 fire incidents that involved $126,700 in estimated damage, 119 emergency medical services, rescue type deals, answering calls for ambulance service, 12 hazardous condition incidents that did not involve fire, leaks, spills, electrical hazards, that type of thing. There were 5 service calls, 29 good intent calls, smoke, odor check, investigation of unknown problems, that kind of thing. 13 false alarms or false calls. Additional activity assisted with the fire extinguisher class at Highland Rivers, began flow testing of fire hydrants in the city, completed all routine vehicle and station maintenance. The training division, the fire department completed 859 total man-hours of training during the month. And that training involved training topics for the month were firefighter survival, hose line deployment and management, live fire attack and scene management, and CPR recertification. On the inspection side, public safety and education, 104 total activities involved 28 annual inspections, 5 new business inspections, 28 requested inspections, 11 follow-up or re-inspections, 2 burn site inspections, 3 plan reviews, provided 30 consultations, and in addition, the Public Safety and Codes Division, Lieutenant Duval attended the city safety meeting and site inspection, inspected and attended the LEPC meeting, tagged and GPS located 10 new fire hydrants that have been put in service at Cherry Hill Drive, Sherwood Drive, and Valley Circle, attended the North Georgia Code Officials Association meeting, and Lieutenant Fox attended the George Chambers Center board meeting. The Building Inspectors Department monthly report, there were 5 new residential permits issued. Total estimated cost of those projects, $790,000 and $3,000 in permit fees. 6 residential remodels that involved $1,823,000 and $515 in permit fees. There were 2 new commercial permits, and that involves just shy of $7 million and $15,000 in permit fees. And 2 commercial remodel or additions, $80,000 and $518 in fees. A new industrial application permit, $5 million industrial project. 1 industrial remodel or addition, 4 commercial HVAC, and 3 sign permits. And we're getting there. I think that is going to do it. Thank you all for your
You and leadership,
patience.
I just get longer after this.
Yeah, that was the short one, y'all.
But thank you for that report. Councilman Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The monthly report for the electric department. The bad pole replacement project continues in South Industrial. New residential construction continues at Quail Run, Gilmore, and Meadowbrook with 4 new temporary and 3 permanent power connections. The City of Calhoun's electric load for March is projected to be 34,530,000 kilowatt hours. This is about 500,000 kilowatt hours less, which is 1.5% less. Most of that reduction is from the warm weather in the winter, which I enjoyed, and also a little bit less industrial workloads. Actual numbers will be released later this week. Alan McCormick was elected to the 2017 chairman of the Georgia Electric Municipal Safety Task Force. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, a power line worker is one of the deadliest jobs in America. The Safety Task Force focuses on how to work safely in a very hazardous environment. The primary role for the Safety Task Force is to share ideas throughout the Georgia cities, assist the ECG, which is the Electric Cities of Georgia, with topics and ideas for the monthly safety meetings, the foreman and supervisor conference, and make improvements in the line worker training classes. The task force was influential in starting the specialized one-day training program classes. Another important duty is to score the forms on the Electric Cities of Georgia's Jeff Cook Award for safety excellence. This award is judged on a comprehensive survey of topics including safety policy, employee safety awareness, training, accident investigation, facilities, equipment inspection, personnel, protective equipment, rescue training, and lost time accidents. For telecommunications, the month of March, they installed 4 new internet and 1 new point-to-point circuits, repaired 2 fiber breaks due to recent storms, and new access system projected to be 42% complete. They're also working with the engineering and water construction to finalize plans to run fiber to the Brittany Well. Underground boring is to start this month. We successfully started live streaming for this event for the city council meetings. It's on YouTube, and it's also can be found on the city's website, and I'm pretty sure our Facebook page as well. Telecommunications added an employee due to upcoming retirement in 6 months. It's going to be a transfer from the electric department. They will make use of the existing skills and begin outside plant fiber optic training. The GIS was a Geographic Information System. We created a map for the downtown development for the Barbecue Boogie and Blues event coming up later this month in a few weeks. We also worked with the engineering department to run water modeling sessions. Updated water meter data and physical building addresses for building department. Also updated the zoning map, fiber map, and added new fire pre-planning for buildings for the fire department. Updated fire hydrant mapping for the GIS and active 911 system. We also updated the city park map and the city and GIS websites. Under the DDA work report, the director attended the Business Engagement Committee meeting, a Young Professionals meeting, a CVB tourism meeting, Main Street 201 training, and Chamber of Commerce booster breakfast. The DDA and HPC held their regular scheduled meetings. There was one new business opening in the downtown historic district. The DDA and Chamber of Commerce, CVB, partnered to develop a marketing package for this new business. The package will be distributed at the end of April. The planning for the annual Barbecue Boogie and Blues is underway. There will be a tractor rides, arts and crafts, vendors, food vendors, live music featuring Kurt Thomas and the Fly Betty Band. Along with the annual events, there will be new additions, including car show, cruise-in, and petting zoo. Those dates are April 28th and 29th, and we look forward to having a record crowd this year. And for safety report for the month of March, they met on the March 7th, and the subject was belt safety. The inspection was completed on the 14th at the street department. We had 3 vehicle accidents, 1 in the street department, 2 in the fire department, 4 worker comps. And Mr. Mayor, mine's shorter than ours.
And thank you for that report. Councilwoman Palazzolo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to piggyback just a second on Councilmember Barton's report. Barbecue Boogie and Blues, Sarah and Suzanne have worked really hard to come up with the map along with the geographic information system and telecommunications to make sure that everyone knows where parking is going to be available throughout downtown and the surrounding areas, as well as where the golf cart pickup is going to be. And so definitely, if you're interested in looking that up before coming downtown for the weekend, I suggest that you go all over social media. It's everywhere, Facebook, as well as on the website. And I know that some of the maps are down at the chamber, and I know that they're downtown at any of the businesses downtown. So just a big shout out to them because they've worked really hard on that. The Streets Department for March, they completed 35 shop work orders and 22 street department work orders. They installed 8 new street signs. They cleaned out ditches all over the city, and they repaved River Street from Pine Street to Highway 53. The Cemetery Department performed routine maintenance on Fane and Chandler cemeteries. They sold 6 new gravesites. The Parks Department continued to pick up litter, haul garbage to the dump, and just maintain the records room. They also performed routine maintenance on city buildings and all the fountains. They did remove some graffiti down on McConnell Community Center, and they trimmed the tree limbs on sidewalks and at the BB&T Park. Our animal control for the month, they housed 20 dogs and 6 cats. And I'm happy to report that they ended up with 4 dogs and no cats. So if you're looking for a pet, definitely go down there because they work really hard, and a lot of volunteers help out to make sure that all of those animals are adopted each month. Our Calhoun Recycling Center brought in for the month of March almost $6,000 in revenue. That included 25 tons of cardboard, over 8,000 pounds of different plastic, and it's a lot of volunteer work. A lot of different businesses have, come in and they're helping. We talked to Judy today, and Judy Peterson, who is basically running the program, and they are about to start a second trial curbside pickup throughout the city. They're going to use the Housing Authority. They're looking for one more neighborhood. So if you are interested and you think your neighborhood would enjoy that program, definitely contact City Hall to get more information on that. And the rec department this month, they had their official opening on March 25th, and the mayor threw out the first baseball. They had the baseball and the softball tournament. They had registration and for baseball and softball, and they finished up with 385 participants. Adult softball registration is also beginning, and that will be the week of April 10th. Spring soccer has concluded. CHS and CMS, they are holding their matches for region tournaments for tennis this month. And also the STARS program, special needs program, was on Friday, March 24th, and they had 11 participants. What really kind of stood out to me was on March 11th. There was a USA Softball of Georgia tournament at the fields, and it was just a one-day tournament with 24 teams. The estimated economic impact was $121,000 for our community. So definitely, and if you look at the April calendar for the rec department, they have a baseball tournament. They actually have a couple of baseball tournaments, a softball tournament, and then they have the USTA tournaments as well coming up. So definitely that is a big economic improvement for our community, a big impact. Thank you, Mr.
Jackie,
Mayor.
is there a small cost for the curbside service? I couldn't remember.
No, right now that is free.
Okay.
Thank you. That is completely free. So it's just a free service, just a trial service. Hopefully we can expand it, and maybe in the future we can offer it to all residents, county and city.
And if I may follow up just a second on Jackie's report, she mentioned the opening of the new fields at the new part of the recreation department. That is made possible by you, the voters. It came totally through the SPLOST dollars and the opportunity to have that. And I think sometimes she made mention of a one-day tournament, 24 teams, and the economic impact on our community was $121,000. Because of the new parks, she is able to have 7 three-day tournaments, as well as one tournament that's going to bring in teams from 8 to 10 different states, a southeastern event that will be over there. And it's, like I say, these things are the expected economic impact of what she has scheduled and the new ones, perhaps as much as or over $1.5 million. That's quite an advantage to our community. It's totally made possible by the SPLOST. And I guess that's a plug for saying we have another SPLOST coming up, opportunity to continue it with new projects and other opportunities, and that vote will be in November. So your consideration and looking at some of that is very important. And so if you would give some thought to the opportunities that are provided by the SPLOST. Thank you. Sorry. Councilman Hammond.
Good points, Mr. Mayor. Let me remind you, we've said a lot tonight, and I know you've kept up, but you probably want to go back. We are not only, as Matt Barton said, streaming live on YouTube, but it's also archived. So if you're lost for something to watch Friday night and you want to go back and pick this all up, it's there for your viewing pleasure. Mr. Mayor, one of the areas that I report on is the Calhoun-Gordon County Library and the statistics for that library. The library is jointly funded by the Calhoun City Council and the Gordon County Commissioners. It's an authority made up with volunteer servants that are appointed by each one of these governing bodies. The city currently owns the building. How important it is, Mr. Mayor just mentioned SPLOST. Last year we did an expansion of that library with SPLOST dollars and with matching state funds. Right now, we're currently averaging 10,000 people a month going through the Calhoun-Gordon County Library. You can see when you look at the statistical report, it's not just as simple as checking out books any longer. You've got computer logins, Facebook reach, e-audio, e-books. So although the dynamics are changing, people are still engaged and still utilizing that valuable resource. So please check that out as you move forward.
Check that out.
Y'all go ahead and put that up for me. One of the other areas that we're reporting on tonight will be the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. We're going to try to put a few slides up showing you some of the things that the Regional Commission's involved in. It's a 15-county, multi-city program made up of this Northwest Georgia region. It's your tax dollars. Some of us are going to be writing a check here in another 4 or 5 days and sending to Washington, D.C. for the April 15th, 17th deadline. When we do that, we want those dollars to come back to Calhoun and Gordon County. It comes back through regional programs. This first one here is a revolving loan fund. This is where dollars came back. In 1983, $300,000, an urban development action grant was granted to Carriage Carpet, which began a revolving loan program here in Calhoun, Georgia. Currently, you can see there on the board, the program has resulted in 692 jobs being created or retained since the loan process started. Well, the program currently has a 2% interest rate with a requiring 50% match from the loan applicant. There's currently $794,130 that we'd like to loan to someone wanting to do business within the city limits of Calhoun and create a business, whether it be retail sales or service industries or whatever. There's $2.4 million that we have utilized and have grown from that $300,000 since 1983. So it's been a very successful program. With government, you get into some extremely unique situations. If we don't loan out a percentage of this money by September, the government wants it back. So we would really like to have some viable startup industries come and look at these programs and move on with that. If you have any questions, see City Hall for an application or these specifics to be reviewed. Northwest Georgia Regional Commission is also involved in the census planning. You guys remember what that is. Every 10 years, we decide how many people we have in our communities. It's important. The redistricting on a congressional level is based on numbers, population numbers, as well as multiple grants are available based on what our poverty rate is surrounding communities as well as ourselves. The 2020 census is just around the corner, so we're already planning for that. The first meeting will be tomorrow morning. So if you're doing nothing and you want to know what's happening with the census, at the Gordon County Agricultural Center, that's over by the Recreation Department, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. there'll be a public meeting where the Census Data Research Assessment will start the process. It'll be made up of volunteers and it'll be made up of elected officials. So that's tomorrow at the Agri Center. Okay. One of the things we do with the Regional Commission is talk about workforce, industry, economic development, jobs, your quality of life issues. This particular map comes out from the state of Georgia, and it comes out every month showing not only where Calhoun and Gordon County is as far as an unemployment rate, what the regional area is, and what the state rate. You can't see it there at the bottom, but the regional unemployment rate is 5.3%, and you can see that's what Gordon County is. We're right at the regional average. The state rate is 5.3%. We're right at the state rate. That's the first time we have been at the state rate since the recession started in 2008. So we were looking at 3% unemployment in those time factors, 5, 6, 7. As soon as the recession hit, we went to double digits. We're now getting back to where we have employment viability in our community. You look at the ones in dark blue, those have the lowest rates in the 4 percentile range. And by proximity to Atlanta to the south, Chattanooga to the north, most of those job opportunities are fed out of the metro areas. The manufacturing facilities, Gordon County being one, is at 5.3. Murray is at 7. Whitfield is at 5.8, and Floyd is at 5.7. So we're doing better than the other manufacturing communities. We got jobs going on here in Calhoun and Gordon County, and we're grateful for that. Georgia Trend Magazine, it comes out once a month, and it's talking about what's going on in Georgia, how it impacts you, how it impacts me. You see Senator Isaacson up there. He's very voiceful in Washington, D.C. with the new agendas that are being constructed there. But we also have some local people that make this magazine from time to time. Paul, if you'll go to the next one. Well, look at there. That's one of our very own. And she is there because she wears a multitude of hats, not only the chamber president and leading this leadership group, but the Calhoun-Gordon County Industrial Development Authority, another entity that is made up of representative volunteers chosen by the county government and the city government, taking a part of the hotel-motel tax, which is heads and beds from ball tournaments, and trying to grow that into more jobs, industrial parks, the next great opportunity. Well, this particular segment of the magazine was made up of what's going on in the whole state of Georgia. So if you want to see how we compare to Northeast Georgia, Central Georgia, Coastal Georgia, it'll give you the population, the employment. You can see us on, and y'all won't be able to see it, but I've got it highlighted there. Gordon County had 2.43% growth during a 10-year period of time. In 2017, we are currently at 30,219. That's a 1% growth this year. Out of that, we're number 9 in the state in rankings as far as growing communities. Below that is employment, and that's what we've been talking about with economic development. Right now, Gordon County had a 1.11% negative slide, and that's probably from Case Manufacturing closing its doors. It's sad when that happens, but Regional Commission has a workforce investment board that comes in and retrains these displaced employees, either through the tech college or local opportunities, to get them back into the job field. So that's your Regional Commission working to replace those. Currently, the employment ranks are 22,265 for an average annual growth of 2.33, and currently that rate is a 4% for the state. Next slide, please, Paul. This is the one that I look at a lot. It says a lot of value. Gordon County per capita income, $33,059. For the Northwest Georgia region, we are number 6. The two areas that are the two communities, and if you ever listen to me talk, you're going to hear me saying, what's Rome doing? What's Cartersville doing? What's Dalton doing? It's not necessarily saying those are great places and that's who we want to be. What it's saying is they have double the population we have, and they're manufacturing, and they got quality of life. So whatever we're experiencing, they've already been there. All you have to do is ask somebody how to roll the wheel. You don't have to invent it. The ones that are above us are Floyd, Bartow, and Whitfield County in the region. It comes from manufacturing. It comes from college and universities. It comes from healthcare, the major healthcare industry that's located over in Floyd County. But what you don't want to see is a slip, and we're showing a 3.53% growth in per capita in Gordon County. That's number 4. Although we were number 6 in per capita, we're number 4 in growth. So we're starting to get some higher paying jobs here in Calhoun and Gordon County. And hopefully it ain't all in government, Paul. But, you know, we are getting those things. Those are important, folks. That's really where you start asking the question, well, what am I getting out of my federal tax dollars? What am I getting out of my state dollars? You're finding ways to keep growing the quality of life here in Calhoun and Gordon County. And that's one of the best things that Northwest Regional does. In addition to that, they have 2 other programs. Area on Aging, which takes care of Meals on Wheels, homebound clients, individuals suffering with memory loss, Alzheimer's, dementia, care provider respite. So those services are also funded and available. There's historically a waiting list for that, but we need to see more people who have needs here in Calhoun and Gordon County getting on that list. That list doesn't stay long, very long, and you need to be getting on it. So if you've got anybody in your family or any of your friends, anybody in your neighborhood or at church that needs assistance, reach out to Northwest Georgia Regional Commission. And the final area that we work on the Regional Commission is on planning. Planning is very important. If we want to be better, we have to plan to be better. Back in 2007, we were required to do a 20-year comp plan, comprehensive plan. What do we want to do? Where do we want to be? How do we want to get there in 20 years? The Calhoun City Council and the Gordon County Commission, I believe Alvin was on there at the time, chose a firm out of Marietta called MacTech to come in and to help us plan, help us understand what we wanted to be. So when we decided that, we were all thumbs up, gung-ho, ready to go. But what happened? The largest recession I've ever experienced in my life, and quite possibly most of you. It changed everything. That means you have to update your plan, which we have to do every 10 years. Larry Vickery, sitting in the back, Larry, raise your hand if you will. Larry is fixing to retire at the end of this year, but he's serving in our planning role currently while Paul has stepped up into the utility role. And we're going to be re-advised on this plan. Both the county will do it and the city will do it. I believe, Larry, who did you tell me was doing it for the county? Who did you tell me was doing it for the county? Jim Ledbetter, the attorney, will be leading that effort. On the regional commission, Calhoun and Gordon County has 4 members. That's pretty unique, folks. Most communities just have 3 at the most. I serve as the city's representative. Bud Owen serves, the newest county commissioner, serves as the county representative. Dwayne Bowen, who is a private investment banker, serves as the private sector's resource. And Dr. Michelle Taylor serves as the governor's appointee, specializing in education. We had a meeting last week, the 4 of us, and the thought process was, how can we do more for Calhoun and Gordon County? How can we grow these assets, make them more visible and viable so that Calhoun, Georgia, and Gordon County as a whole is getting their fair share of the pie? Well, Larry's going to be pulling together a meeting with these 4 and with the county to start seeing, is our plan still on track? We're 10 years into it. Are we still on track? Do we need to reassess housing? Do we need to reassess transportation? How do we look at it? Well, the first thing you do is you look at the stakeholders, the people who we had in this depot back in 2007 to say, this is who we want to be, this is what we want to do. I was amazed when I got the book out and started looking at it. 71% of our stakeholders in 2007 are no longer here in 2017. 71%. It's the baby boomers leaving. It's individuals moving. So the challenge, Larry, to you, and I know this is going to be, I guess, a good parting dance, is to have a great planning session made up of 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, and older that can talk about what the vision is going to be in the next 10 years. So as Chief Moss just said, it's in your pocket, and I know you'll do a great job with it. We will be putting that on Facebook, and we will be talking about it in the meetings here when we have it scheduled, because when we do that, we'll bring the public in to sit in and to be a part of that. The final area that I'll report on, and I know everybody said it was lengthy. They were probably leaning toward me when they said that. But the final thing is the Calhoun-Gordon County Tom B. David Airport. Once again, that's a entity that is made up jointly of city-county assets. Volunteer board members lead that group. And currently, believe it or not, and I know some of you have heard this, but we have the 7th largest airport in the state of Georgia for permanently housed aircraft. That tells you people want to be in Calhoun, Georgia. We have a 6,000-foot runway that you can land and take off almost any plane other than a large commercial carrier. We're fixing to do a $10 million taxiway expansion so that you can bring in more frequency of flights. That's totally funded 100% by your federal dollars. The federal government reimburses us that cost. This year, they had $10 million. Historically, they have to divvy that up all over the state of Georgia. Calhoun, Tom B. David got 100% of that funding. That's how much the FAA, got a lot of AAs. The Federal Aviation Administration, that's how much they value this airport and where it's at, here in the bullseye of everything and the growth potential it has. But that's not all. In addition to that, there's going to be a bonding through the association for a $5 million expansion for commercial hangars. Eddie Peterson's not here, but he and I were in the meeting 2 months ago, and there was a jet contractor there with 4 jets, 4 large jets, that he wants to house in Calhoun, Georgia. The ad valorem tax on one of those jets is $168,000 a year, just the tax fee for it. It changes to where you no longer have an airport that is just there. Now it's another economic engine. It's adding growth in tourism. it's adding growth in industry, and it's taking its place in providing income for this community. Mr. Mayor, that completes my report.
And thank you for that report. We'll now have the public hearings. The public will have the opportunity to make pro and con comments with a 10-minute maximum time limit for each side of the matter. And with each person speaking having filed a financial disclosure statement 5 days prior to the hearing, if required, and each person giving their name and address. At this time, I would ask if any elected official has had need of a financial disclosure statement.
No, sir.
Hearing none, the first item and the only item, public hearing, is an ordinance change to Chapter 18 and Chapter 50 of the Calhoun Code of Ordinances. This is to add fire protection and prevention requirements to the C1 district concerning loft apartments. And with that, I would also like to note the fact that the current loft apartments and the ones that are under construction do meet this requirements, and the fire department that put this together and so forth looked at surrounding communities to do so, and looked at other ordinances. And with that, at this time, I'll open the public hearing, and I'll ask if all the legal requirements have been met.
They have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with that comment, George, do you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, it just merely codifies what everyone else has already been adhering to, but that way future construction will have the same requirements.
Thank you. This time I'd ask if for questions or comments concerning the possible ordinance change to Chapter 18 and Chapter 50. If anybody has any questions or comments. Hearing none, we'll close the hearing and ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Under new business, we have the first reading of an annexation and zoning request. This request is for R1. It is for 1.32 acres. This is property is located at 106 East 40th Drive. And the request is by Jack and Mary Jenkins. Zoning Advisory Board is scheduled to meet on May the 4th. Public hearing on May the 8th. Also have the first reading of an annexation and zoning request of C2. This is for 14.81 acres at a location of parcel number 058-060. This is by Love's Travel Stops and Country Stores. Zoning Advisory Board is scheduled for May the 4th. Public hearing will be on May the 8th. Also have the first reading of a variance request. This request is also by Love's Travel Stops. And this same location, the sign variance request is 160 feet for the height of a sign and variance of 812 square feet for the face of the sign. Once again, the Zoning Advisory Board will meet on May the 4th, and the public hearing will be on May the 8th.
Mr. Mayor, just for the public's interest, this will be a large travel plaza that will be operated off the Union Grove exit. And as we talked about the splosh earlier, and the chamber certainly can echo this, you're historically getting 35 to 40 cents off the interstate because of this type of business activity. So that's one more coming to the industrial park out there that should be an advantage.
And, thank you for that. Also, we have an opportunity for a road dedication. It is for Benstone Road, and the request is by Paul Lusk.
Mr. Mayor, I ask that we table this, make a motion to table this. Mr. Peterson's not here, and there was a little information that was a little vague, so I make a motion we table it until the next meeting now.
Thank you very much. Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Also in your packet, we have a resolution. This is calling for a non-binding referendum to inquire the electorate. There are two items on that. Those items are concerning term limits, and it'll be a simple yes or no vote. And the term limits have not been established at this particular time. The other item is for the possibility of expanding the number of members on the council from the present number of 4, and once again, those numbers have not been listed on the referendum. It's just a simple yes or no.
Yes, sir, the purpose of the resolution, we attempted to do it last time with the general election, but we were unable to do so for timing requirements. The purpose at this time is just to gather from the electorate whether they whether there's a desire to initiate the proceedings. As I previously indicated in prior meetings, anytime you change the electorate or the local governing authority themselves, it's the composition or the election process. That is one of the charter requirements that does require action by the General Assembly and local law. And it's one of the few areas of charter modification that's required. So this would be basically a straw poll in the form of an actual ballot. It would not be a binding referendum, nor would it be a referendum. It would just be to gauge the electorate. And as opposed to the general election where it would have to be included only in city ballots as opposed to countywide ballots for the general election, this will be only a city election.
Can we, I missed the work session today, and so I think Al didn't get to make it either, so can we table this as well? I'd like to make a motion to table it, just to have more discussion in the work session to make sure this is exactly what we want. So,
That would not be a problem.
yeah, we got plenty of time still. I mean, I know we need to get it.
Overabundance of caution this time.
I understand.
Mr. Worley and I can get it to the ballot.
Right. Anyway, I'll make a motion just to table that for a couple of Mondays.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Next item is a revolving loan committee report concerning a loan application. The application is by Heather Timms for Southern Heritage Personal Care Home and the opportunity to place that business at 501 Court Street. And we have a representative from the revolving loan fund, Mr. Hammond.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did mention most of the advisory committees are made up of volunteers. All of these volunteers are either bankers or they're business operators here in Calhoun, Georgia. So the bankers in particular, it's chaired by David Lance and Larry Roy and others serve on the committee. After reviewing the documentation, they decided at this time to deny this loan simply out of numbers, and I'm sure there will be other applicants afterwards. So the recommendation was to deny the loan.
Okay, put that in form of a motion.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Let me make one more comment that I didn't make in that lengthy session I had a few minutes ago. We started this loan many, many years ago. Currently, to date, we've not had a single default. So the banking community is doing their due diligence to make sure that someone doesn't get into risk because they have to pledge a lot of their own assets. So they do a lengthy process, and that has generated $2.4 million. So they're doing a great job with that, the volunteer group is.
And I appreciate that comment, and I don't think you said earlier, when you mentioned the $300,000 grant, this grant came about because of Clarence Harris.
Mm-hmm.
The Clarence Harris Foundation, that we all know, has done a lot for our community. This is something that goes unrecognized quite often as one of the benefits something else that he started up. When he started his business, he applied for this, and it has just $300,000 that has grown, and with a lot of benefits to our community. So, once again, thank the Clarence Harris and Foundation for what they do. And with that, Mr. Peterson.
I don't have anything additional, just would reiterate, like you had mentioned, the city's been working hard on the budget, the next fiscal year budget. We'll have our first work session on April 24th with a public hearing on May 8th, and hopefully people can come and get some information about what we're working on. The department heads have been working hard on getting all their individual budgets put together on the utility side, the general side. Finance department's working with the department heads. We have a lot of good projects and good things going on, so hopefully you'll be able to participate in some of those public meetings. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you'll indulge me for a second, this council has been wanting to really evaluate where we are with utilities. Utilities is our enterprise fund. That's supposed to be what really grows the industry, but also returns to the community. And to do that, you have to have a real clear understanding of what your cost components are. So we asked Mr. Worley, when he took over this position, if he could determine a cost per gallon at each one of our treatment centers for water. And Jerry Crawford, Director of Water Sewer Operations, and Andrea Bramlett, Financial Director, have sat down and done this for us. It gives us not only operational excellence as to where we know where we're at, it gives us cost strategy for where we need to go. Paul, could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Like I said, we've kind of diving into the numbers, getting a cost per 1,000 gallons, evaluating a lot of different scenarios as we're coming up into the upcoming budget. One thing that kind of came to the surface in light of this is the inside to outside water and sewer rate ratios. What this basically means is the ratio difference between a county resident and what they pay versus a city resident, and the industry standard is around 1.5%. We did a survey of some North Georgia communities, and the average in the North Georgia area is about 1.57. And looking closer at the city's rates, we're at 1.36. We were one of the lowest in the entire North Georgia region. Just as an example, a surrounding community, Carsville, is at 1.93. So a county resident in that area would be paying almost double the rate compared to the city resident. And some of the reasons and justifications for this rate increase for the outside customers is very logical when you think about the service area that you're providing. A lot of the outside and outlying areas are less dense in population. Of course, the city is much more dense, so you have many more miles of lines and distribution and cost associated with providing those services in the county. Just to kind of put that in perspective, the Gordon County has 358 square miles, and the city portion of that only encompasses 13 of that 358. So those water plants that we operate, sewer plants, have to provide those services all out to the four corners of our community. So there's some significant cost involved with that. Also, the citizens are the one that bear the responsibility of the debt repayment and carry most of the risk of owning and operating these utilities. Just as an example of some of the debt, the next 5 years the city will be obligated to pay $12.8 million in interest and principal payments on some of the existing debt that we have in our system. Some of the water and sewer projects that we've been able to do, for example, is the Miller Ferry Loop, which Jerry's crews have completed under budget, but that was almost a $1 million project that was built and put into service on the south side of the county to improve some water improvement capacity issues on the south side of Gordon County. We have the South Calhoun bypass going on currently. That's over $1 million project. A lot of county roads are being impacted, and a lot of work for city forces, city crews to get some of that infrastructure in place. One of the top priorities going forward is adding a water tank and ranger in that area. to provide some water storage capacity issues we have on the eastern side of Gordon County. That'll be another $1 million project. Also piping to lead to that county project is about a $2.5 million project of increased size and piping from our Brittany plant into the Ranger area to help improve our water system on that side of the county. So all that to say, we're looking at that ratio where it makes sense for Calhoun to be in relation with Gordon County as we're putting in our new budget to see what ratio that we would like to be at to help finance, raise revenues, to be able to do these critical infrastructure projects going forward. So we'll be looking hard at that and discussing it with the mayor and council as we get into some of these budget meetings.
You're good. Thank you, Paul. Jerry?
And thank you once again for that report. And I know of no need to go to executive session, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion is second, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, you know that, don't you? So we can get papers, sir.
Get ready, just in case.
Huh?
The rest of the sheets are coming from the other girls. Yeah, like she could
I
only,
just wanted to, I was sitting there the other day.
she could only do, the way that the money's, I know that y'all paid with one check.